Hello, everybody. So today we will be doing a collab video with SkyBobbytv. We decided to join each other to give our experiences about flight attendant life. So, Bobby, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone?
Hey Thomas, how you doing? I'm SkyBobbytv, and I am Sky Bobby. I think it's a lot different than 9/11 was. Hey Sky Boys and Sky Girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Sky Bobby, and you're watching Sky Bobby TV. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to know when I make my next video. I got a treat for you guys. I have a collabo with a flying partner who works for a regional airlines, and he's a 2-year flight attendant. And y'all know I'm a 30-year-old old hag flight attendant, and we just compared the difference between being a 2-year flight attendant as well as a 30-year flight attendant. I'm here on a mini vacation. As you can see, I'm sweating like I don't know what. It's 104 here in Palm Springs, and I'm by my pool here, just relaxing, getting a little tan. So I hope you enjoy this video. Make sure you share it, subscribe, do what you got to do. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'll have the description down below of his YouTube channel. He's going to be posting the same video on his channel. So make sure you guys go to him and support that. And let's get into it.
Hello, everybody. So today we will be doing a collab video with SkyBobbytv. We decided to join each other to give our experiences about flight attendant life. So, Bobby, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone?
Hey Thomas, how you doing? I'm Sky Bobby TV, and I am Sky Bobby, and I'm so excited to be doing this collaborations. I've been waiting a while to find out a little bit about what it is like to be a regional flight attendant, and about what it is to a day in the life of being a straight flight attendant.
And we get to find out he has 30 plus years of experience, so we get to see his point of view from being a flight attendant from the beginning in the 80s until now as well.
You're making me feel old now, 30 plus years. Wow,
So,
yeah, 32 November. Oh, the 80s. Oh my goodness. I was a young little kid. I was in my 20s. I was about 22 years old when I started with my company, and fresh out of life, coming out of the closet. And it had some good and some bad. I mean, being a flight attendant in the 80s, it was the job that you can apply being gay. Uh, I think 99.9 of our flight attendants were gay in the 80s, and that's what attracted me to it, that I can be out in the closet and still be able to have a full-time career. At the time, I didn't think it was going to be a full-time career because I was going to do it for 2 years, and I was out. And 32 years now, and I'm still in, so I'm still trying to figure this out, why I'm still here. But it's not just a job, it's a lifestyle, and I just got hooked to the lifestyle, and time just goes by and by. But being gay in the 80s as a flight attendant, wow, I was a mess. There was a lot going on in society, and I was living up the life. I enjoyed it.
so there was no discriminations or anything like as far as you being black and gay in the 80s or anything like that? Because, I know times are more progressive now than they were back then.
Of course, I think I tried to block it out because it was something that was, you were flying all around the world, so you experienced racism, you experienced gayism and homophobia. Um, I think it wasn't as strong as I would like it to be, because I think people knew that being a flight attendant, you were the assumption that you were gay, um, and not everybody was. I mean, you're a perfect example that all flight attendants are not gay people. Trust me. um, but what if I experienced just a little bit when I went to small town America, when I was laying over in Kansas City, and there was a time there was no internet, there was no chat rooms, there were no hookup sites. It was just, you had to go to a bar and actually meet somebody and buy them a drink and go out. It was so, the old-fashioned way, as people would say. And that's what we would do. We would lay over in these beautiful cities around the world and meet beautiful people. And I enjoyed it. I mean, I really can't say there was that much racism. I mean, homophobia when I was in the 80s.
Well, for me, what it's like to be a straight flight attendant in today's time, it doesn't bother me because I know that everybody's going to assume that you are gay because that's just what the makeup of it is. Um, Me, I'm comfortable in my sexuality, so it doesn't intimidate me whatsoever. So whether I'm working with someone that is gay or not gay, it doesn't bother me at all. Or it doesn't bother me if somebody does assume that I am gay because it's the climate that we're in. But I'm not. It's not. I'm not easily offended by that. I would tell anybody who is a straight male that's trying to get into this business, you have to be comfortable in your sexuality because most likely when you go to training, like I had a roommate, he was gay,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't no, oh, you got to go do this, you got to go change the bathroom. Like I felt intimidated by him being in the room at all, and that never was the case at all. So it's just one of those things like you have to be comfortable in your own sexuality and understand that that's what this job is, as far as being working around someone that is gay. Like I had one coworker hit on me, and I just simply told him like, wrong tree, something like that. It wasn't no, oh, get out of my face, it wasn't one of those things. It was just like, I'm not interested in men, and he just was like, okay, and we were fine the rest of the trip. It wasn't something to get him embarrassed about or try to embarrass him about it because what's the point? Just simply say, just like if a woman wasn't interested in you, she would just say, no. Or if she was gay, she would just be like, I'm not interested in men, and just go about your
Right,
business.
and I would get that a lot that, you sure you're gay? If you weren't gay, I'm like, yes, I'm gay, totally gay.
So,
An interesting fact, though, even before my time in the 70s, when they started hiring men as flight attendants, they were straight. They were guys who were looking to hit up on the stewardess, which we were called back then stewardess, and they had them all around. So it was a way of meeting new people. So the gays didn't come until the early 80s, and I think it was more because the airlines went to a new direction. They were using their flight attendants as marketing tools, and the airline that I was working for was the Friendly Skies. So they were looking for that friendly, flamboyant, that person. The personality was more important than basic was on the resume. So that's what the transition was, and that's here I come as a 20-year-old little kid in the 20s, and my eyes were twinkling. I'm like, wow. I grew up in the Bay Area, but I never really left the Bay Area. So when I first became a flight attendant, it was just exciting to just go anywhere. It was like, okay, I'm going to Boise, Idaho. That's cool. Okay. But I was always conscious about being gay, that I was going to these small towns and the security of just being out, that not every town and every city accepts that.
right. Yeah, I understand that totally. Just like even when I go to small towns where, the demographics are a lot, you can kind of get that sense of, yeah, that, it's just one of those things like, yeah, they don't too much like me. Just walking around, or I get looks, I should say, not, just looks, not direct things, but just you get those looks like, what are you doing here? Type looks. So I totally understand that.
I think it's a lot different than 9/11 was something that happened just like the pandemic out of nowhere, but it lasted maybe a week where the airline shut down when there was no flying around the world, especially in the United States. It was more of a United States issue where this pandemic is more an international issue. I remember that day that, they had all the airplanes land. That was unprecedented at that time, um, because they didn't know if there was any more planes that were going to be crashing into the buildings. And so they weren't letting airplanes coming into the country, but it was just America had shut down, but the other countries were operating. Where I feel with the pandemic, the world is shut down. You can't get in or out of the United States. Um, but the fear of furlough was definitely there. We thought at that time the world was ending and that the airlines as we know it would never exist anymore. And what came out of 9/11 was a lot of mergers and acquisitions of airlines. Before 9/11, there were probably still about six more legacy airlines, where we're down to three legacy airlines, or mainline airlines. And there were no such things as the smaller airlines like the Frontiers, the Spirits. Those all came of birth after 9/11, which gave the major airlines more competitive competition. And that's where they were able to charge tickets for like $49. But the big airlines had to come down to that, but they couldn't afford to. There was always the Southwest kind of the airlines where it was the no frill, but that's what they do best, and they never really competed with the bigger airlines because they weren't trying to go international or anything. And that's what definitely happened. They immediately furloughed a lot of employees. They offered some programs where it could be a volunteer program. A lot of people took that just to take some time off because it was still scary to get back on an airplane. You didn't know if there's still more terrorists out there, if they're going to be dropping more planes. It was something that never happened before. Usually it was a hijacking. They would hijack the plane. Okay, where you want to go, we take them there, and then they wait for the demands. They were like running planes into the building. So that was the major difference about it. When I show up today, it's the silent virus. 9/11, we saw what happened, where right now people are just dying from a virus that we don't know anything about, kind of a thing. And the world is suffering, not just America or the airline industry. Right now, as I know, I don't think any airlines are furloughing right now in the United States, but it's coming because the government had given all the airlines a care package to keep their employees employed. That was something different where in the past, the government gave money to the government to stay afloat, but it was for the corporation itself. And then the CEOs used that to buy back stocks, buy more planes, and grow, opposed to trying to save the worker. And I think this time they wanted to make sure that the money was going directly to the employees and able to keep their jobs. And that keeps us afloat until October. I don't know what's going to happen after October.
Okay. This is my first time going through anything like this, especially because this is my first time working in the aviation industry. So I've never been through anything besides this pandemic. And, so I'm just kind of taking it day by day. Whenever the news rolls in, I just take it in and just roll with the punches, as they say.